day here in Eastern Tennessee. And behind me, I have a 2021 Toyota RAV4 Limited Hybrid. So I have a few things that I want to say about this. I think I've talked about some RAV4s on the channel before. You can head on over and check those videos out. I know I've talked about CR-Vs, which is Honda's competitor to the RAV4, and I know I've talked about Honda's hybrid, so I wanted to touch on a few things here about this one. And well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump inside. I'm going to try and probably do most of the talking on the inside just because of the wind, but hopefully you'll not have any issues hearing me while I am on the outside here. So let's go ahead and take a look. So right away you will notice the slightly newer design for the RAV4. I can't remember exactly what year it was that they redesigned it, but it does have a nice and kind of more, not aggressive, but a little bit more of a stricter kind of boxy look to it. I don't mind it, but I do know that it is something Toyota has been doing with their models for the last couple of years. So stopping here at the tailgate, we do have a powered tailgate, which does have a button that you press and hold on the key, and it does go up. Now, the Limited is one of those higher trim levels there, so you are going to get a bit more bells and whistles with this one. Now, you can see here, much like with the CR-V, you do get a nice amount of storage space just in the trunk with those back seats up. Now, they do fold flat, so you do get even more space if needed, but you do already have a sizable trunk, which is really nice. You do also then have the push button close as well. Just push that, goes on down on its own. Now with this one specifically, it is an all-wheel drive as well, and with it being a Limited, like I mentioned, it does have a lot of the features there. So if you do have specific things you want to see, or if there are any questions, you can always feel free to ask as normal, or you can always leave a comment or subscribe as well. You know, I always appreciate that. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking to myself. Always good things there. So we're going to pop inside here, and like I said, I'm going to try and do most of my talking in there just because I know the wind's a little bad today. But you do have these nice leather seats there, very comfortable, both in the back row and the front row. I do really like the shape of these. Again, they're a little bit wider, I believe, than some of the CR-V seats, so that is a little bit nice. You do have a nice sunroof as well, and then I'm going to climb on in here and we'll fire it up. Okay, so it does have push button start, just tucked in right there. And then again, as it is, you know, I don't have my seatbelt on, but as it is a hybrid, it is running off of that battery there. You'll most likely hear it kick on and off as I am talking here. But all in all, it's fairly similar to other RAV4s that I've shown, and not a ton is different in terms of where things are laid out. Biggest thing there is with the screen. You do have, you know, a little bit more of a hybrid focused tachometer there. You can see where it's got like kind of functioning between the eco mode and some of those things specifically for it being a hybrid. You can also see on the screen you've got your speed there, as well as some of the information for like the battery and some of that stuff. Nice thing is you do also get a little bit of a safety feature with seeing which seat belts are unbuckled and buckled there. I'm going to try and get a little bit closer. There, you can see that. So that is kind of handy too. You know, I don't mind the dial on the left hand side. It used to bother me when I would see gauges like that where you can't actually see the numbers, but then I realized it doesn't really matter because I'm not doing the shifting anyways. It's not a mag transmission, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a different look to it, which I don't mind. Nice thing is too, it is dual zone climate control, which is great, but it also does have heated and cooled seats, which do work, which is nice. It is also a nice combination of buttons. So it does have the digital display, but the buttons are very nice to actually click. It definitely feels like you're doing something. Same with the knobs, they turn really easy. And to actually like sync them up, there is literally just a sync button to make it go there. Same with the AC, as well as the auto and off. The auto feature, essentially what that does is if you click that, the car will actually decide how fast to blow the fan to get to the temperature you have it set at as fast as possible. So that's what that is if you are curious about that. And you can just turn that on and off. In addition, you do have a few different drive modes, which I have shown off. It's in a little bit of a different array on this hybrid than some of the gas ones that I've shown. So on the gas ones, there are a few different buttons that you would push. Still have that a little bit, but only for the trail and EV mode. In otherwise, you have this little dial, which actually is kind of reminiscent to me of what you see on some Lexuses. I have a video on the channel here of a Lexus ES350. You can go and check that one out if you are curious about that one. It did unfortunately sell, but we did just get in a 2019 ES350, which hopefully I'll get to snag the keys for. But the way this one works is it is literally just a left-right dial that you push to change the mode. So I'll turn that here and you can see it, and you can see the little indication there on the screen. I'm just going to turn to the left. You can see it's got the eco there. And then if you go to the right, it turns over to sport. You just push it, just goes back to normal. And then same thing with trail. It'll do that as well. I like the little animations there. I think it's kind of fun. It's just a little detail there. I appreciate that. But all in all, very easy to navigate, which I appreciate. It is an auto parking brake as well. Toyota has started implementing that, which I really appreciate there. You just go, and when you put it into drive, it'll undo it, and then when you park, it'll automatically apply there as well. It's a small thing, but I do appreciate that. I've mentioned it before on the channel. I'm a big fan of using that parking brake, just kind of extending a little bit of that transmission life. I just appreciate that. Screen itself, very easy to read. I do like that as well. It's also nice to navigate with the buttons too. Just nice, easy to push the map. Since it is limited, it does have the built-in navigation, so I do appreciate that. Again, the dials are very nice and very easy to kind of turn and tell that you're actually doing something as opposed to, you know, not knowing. You do have a backup camera as well, which I also like that it does have kind of those indicators there of what you're actually looking at. I do appreciate that. All in all, very streamlined, very nice. And the biggest thing for me is with this being a hybrid, so the RAV4 is Toyota's equivalent of the CR-V, both of which are kind of your mid-sized SUVs, kind of really in the middle of the road in terms of the way that they are able to kind of carry people and things. I really like them both. I go back and forth, honestly, between if I have a preference or not, because I think they both do things very well. Personally, I think the RAV4, here, I'm actually turn the camera around so you can see me, you're not just staring at the instrument. So personally, like I said, I kind of go back and forth on which one that I have preferences for. I really, really like both of them. They both are very reliable vehicles from very, very reliable brands. Oh, there you can just hear the engine kicked on. I don't know if you heard that or not, but I think they do very, very similar things very, very well. They're both great for gas mileage, both the hybrid and non-hybrid versions. So for me, that extra hybrid stuff, you know, I think it's just an extra plus because it's really going to just really boost up that already good gas mileage. Similar like I talked about in my video on the Accord. If you haven't checked that, you can go check that, where I talk a little bit about some of the things with Honda's hybrids. Personally, I haven't noticed a huge difference between driving like this hybrid RAV4 versus the hybrid CR-V in terms of whether or not I've really noticed the hybrid engine kind of kicking on and off anymore. You know, either like a lack in get up and go, if you will, right from zero with the hybrid. I know some of the older hybrids, that was kind of a thing, is you kind of have a little bit of a sluggish feeling, which personally I have noticed with some Toyota hybrids in the past. With this one specifically, I did not notice that, and I actually really appreciated that because that was really my big advantage towards the Honda hybrids over like a Toyota hybrid, is that utility side of things, where you get access to everything. On the Honda side, it is very, very smooth. This has actually made a lot of leaps and bounds towards that for me. Personally, I think the RAV4 does really, really well in terms of handling and the way it rides. Like I said, I really like RAV4s. Similarly to the CR-V, they also handle really well and ride really well. I mean, on my honest thoughts, I think the RAV4 has a little bit of an edge over a CR-V if you're going to be doing a lot of, like, maybe not off-roading, but maybe a little bit more maneuverability. I think the RAV4 has a little bit of a tighter turning radius and handles a little bit better for that than like the CR-V does. But then in the same comparison, I think the CR-V gives a little bit more edge towards like highway driving, just in terms of comfortability. Both are great at it, and so honestly, I think it's really going to come down to personal preference as to which one you like the feel of more. That's kind of what it does for me, and that's why I say that it kind of just flips back and forth between the two for me. I would be happy with either one of them myself, so I think it really comes down to personal preference. Like I said, I think this is a great car. I think it's a really good option for anyone who's got, you know, longer commutes, because you've got the gas mileage while you're still going to have the functionality of a decent sized SUV. You know, all in all, I think it's a great option. Personally, I think it is a good fit for, like I said, anyone who's doing commuting. It is also going to be a good fit for anyone who's just looking for an SUV but maybe doesn't want a huge SUV, or is looking for a mid-sized SUV that's going to handle really well. This is a great option for that. Like I said, it has a really great turning radius. It rides really well. You do have a couple of different drive modes without losing any of the functionality. With it being a hybrid, you're not really sacrificing, oh, I'm going to be stuck onto, you know, the roads. You do still get the all-wheel drive, all of that good stuff, as well as having that trail mode, which is awesome. So honestly, I think it's a great option for anyone who's looking for a nice mid-sized SUV, going to be good on gas, as well as just being a comfortable ride. Yeah, so without any further ado, I'll pop back out, give you one last look at it. But this is, again, the 2021 Toyota RAV4 Limited Hybrid. I'll pop back out here and leave you with that. If you want to see it in person, like I said, it's going to come down to personal choice. Come on down to Honda Morristown, Tennessee. Take it for a spin yourself and ask for Jeffrey.